Oh, welcome back. This is a little TDA practice with the opening to Unit 4 that called The Human Brain, one of the best ones. Uh, the essential question for this unit, different than our last one, which was all about milestones and growing up and maturity and age and family. This one is different. This one is in what different ways can people be intelligent? On the left, and I'd like you to trace on the left with the color pink because that's the color of the brain, and I'm not going to swerve on that one. It's pink, and that's as pink as I could find. Maybe you can do better. God bless you if you can. All right, so I'm tracing it, my highlighter. I've got my pink brain. Perfect. In what different ways can people be intelligent? Well, let's look for some of the words that go with this word intelligent. Ooh, I see. Evidence is used by intelligent people. Ideas, learning, read, information. Ooh, I love all that. I see the word different right here, and I see it down there too. Perfect. What about on this other side? This one is the one that's focused on today's article. So it's about the brain, about learning, right? That's why I used an apple. Well, I see brain right there. I see neurons. I know that has something to do with learning. I see information again. Ooh, I'm loving all this. Can you switch over to orange, please? And I'd like you to find your own words that you think match this essential question. Take a moment to do so, please. Hi, Miles. Back to bed. Oh, no, I'm in the middle of recording, buddy. What do you need to tell me?
Tell me after we wake up, what's the color?
That is gray.
Why?
Well, it's not entirely black and it's not entirely white, but I got to get back to my class, okay, buddy? I love you.
Where's the class?
They are in the classroom right now listening to us, if you can believe it.
Okay, but it's very dark out.
Well, you know what? That's why we got that nightlight on, buddy. Okay? I love you. Back to bed. Go on.
Okay.
Okay. So on slide 3, we've got our prompt, our guiding prompt, which reads authors often endeavor to make new material relevant to their audience. How does the author of The Human Brain connect his topic to her audience of students? Or her topic to her audience of students. Support your answer with evidence from the text. Take a moment right now, please, and find the two most important words in the prompt. Nice work, nice work. So let's read along. We're going to start with this launch text, which means it's kind of launching us like a rocket into the universe of Unit 4. All right, you can see that we have the prompt in the upper right hand corner. And if you could please go ahead and put the check mark on this word connect, because that's what we're going to be looking for is connections. And do you see any connections over here? Sure. It looks like there's one, the left side of the brain, logical, worrying, and the right side of the brain, which is somewhat illogical and creative, detailed, language oriented. All right, so let's take a look. This selection is an example of an informative text, a type of writing in which an author presents facts and details. This is a type of writing you'll develop in the performance based assessment at the end of the unit. As you read, look at the way ideas are introduced and facts and details are presented. Mark the text to help you determine the key ideas and details. And you might be wondering, I wonder what the key ideas are. And what seems to be important seems to be, so far as I can tell, this picture of the brain. Let's read. The famous scientist James Watson summarized it this way: the brain boggles the mind. The human brain is truly impressive. It weighs only about 3 pounds. Oh, that's interesting to me. But controls everything a person does, ever has done, and ever will do, physically, intellectually, and emotionally. No computer even comes close to having the brain's abilities. I wonder if it ever will. The brain controls a person's actions, reactions, and survival functions, such as breathing. I think that helps me to connect with it as I take a breath right now. It also has the ability to think, remember, process information, and learn new things. Can you please take a moment and I'd like you to find a connection in this paragraph? It could be between the picture and what you're reading, or it can be a connection within the paragraph. Take a moment to do that now. Nice work. The brain is one part of the central nervous system, the system that controls all the body's activities. The central nervous system is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. The brain is protected by the skull, and the spinal cord runs through vertebrae of the back, the bones that make up the spine. The spinal cord transmits messages between the brain and other parts of the body through nerve cells called neurons. If a person decides to pick up a book from the shelf, a voluntary action, the brain sends that message to the arm and hand through the spinal cord. And if a person touches a hot surface, and burns his or her hand, an involuntary action, the nerve cells in the hand send a pain message to the brain through the spinal cord. And you can see right here is the spinal cord, and right here is the brain. And using the idea right here, let's actually put that where the brain is and connect the hand on the burning stove. 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. You can come back and annotate the rest later. A constant stream of messages on slide 8 travels through the neurons in the spinal cord at speeds of more than 150 miles per hour. The human brain never stops working, even when a person is asleep. As well as transmitting messages through the spinal cord, neurons transmit messages from one part of the brain to another. There are approximately 85 billion of these cells in the brain alone. Neurons send messages through tiny branch like structures that connect to other neurons in different parts of the brain, as well as other parts of the body. The points where neurons meet and transmit information to each other are called synapses. Each neuron may be connected to as many as 10,000 other neurons, resulting in more than 100 trillion synapses in a single brain. Please take one full minute to find the connections on this page. You can find connections between the pictures and the stuff on the left if you like. To find a part that you feel is important, go ahead. The question mark and check mark we can save for later, but please do find the most important part and a connection. Take the time to do that with paragraph 3 now. All right. Although a person cannot increase the amount of neurons in his or her brain, learning new things increases the number of synapse connections between them. Learning and education actually change the structure of the human brain. That structure changes every time a person learns, and every time that person has a new thought or memory. The more a person learns, the more there is to think about. And the more there is to think about, the more there is to remember. As a result, the connections between neurons get stronger, and the brain is able to function more effectively. It processes, thinks, analyzes, and stores information more quickly and productively than it did before these connections were made. Neurons are just cells, and everything a person knows is the result of the connections between them. Please take a moment, and I'd like you to find a part that you feel is important in this paragraph. Please take the time to do that now. Nice work. Scientists have gained a wealth of knowledge about the human brain, but there's a lot they do not yet understand. The neurologist Santiago Ramon y Cajal, for example, compares the brain to a world of unexplored continents with great stretches of unknown territory. Even so, new discoveries continually increase our knowledge of how the brain functions and how people learn. What are these new discoveries? I love this connection that makes it interesting to me about comparing the brain to unexplored continents. I like that there's a picture of the neurologist here, Santiago Ramon y Cajal. Now, this slide is entirely annotated, and you can see the check mark there. Your job is to go back, and while we've partially annotated everything, I need you to fully annotate slide 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Please take the time to do that now. All right. Now that you've had a chance to completely and utterly annotate the slides, it's time to take a look at this graphic uh, organizer. Let's look first with our highlighter on mustard yellow at the prompt at the top. Authors often endeavor to make new material relevant. Let's highlight that word relevant. to their audience. Let's highlight that word audience. How does the author of The Human Brain connect her topic? There's that word connect to her audience of students. Oh, so we specified who the audience might be. Well, first we have to take out those question words and we're going to write right in here the author of the human brain connects the topic to her audience of students by number one, number two, and number three. Now, this would repeat each time. In each body paragraph, it would be your first sentence, but instead of three, you would only concentrate on one. Same here, but it would be just two. And then same here, but it would be just three. So that's each of the, and I'm going to undo this for now, just to make it look a little neater, right? And I'd like to make sure that at a minimum, you guys make sure you've got some reasons or how she connects it. Well, when you go back through the text, you can go, oh, yeah, I remember there were these cool facts. Like the 85 billion of the cells. That's such an enormous number, impressive number. So maybe reason number one will be about this 85 billion. 85 billion. But how else to connect? Well, at one point at the end, there's Ramoni Kahal, who compares the brain to unexplored continents. That's an interesting comparison. So, unexplored continents. Perhaps that'll be what I write about for this next one. And the third one, I will let you guys come up with that connection on your own, right? Once you've got your thesis and the topic sentences for each of your three different body paragraphs, then you just restate your thesis at the end, and that's your conclusion. Let's look at an example of one body paragraph. Prompt. Switch over to mustard yellow, please. Authors often endeavor to make new material relevant to their audience. Well, endeavor, if you don't know that word, by the way, you would want to look it up. And to endeavor is to work. So authors often work to make new material relevant. So the new material is the brain. We'll put that in pink. Relevant will be mustard yellow again. To their audience, mustard yellow too. How does the author connect the topic to her audience? The topic being the human brain. So let's put topic in pink again. To her audience of students. Whoops, daisy. Support your answer with evidence from the text. The author of the human brain connects. So here's the author. Here's the paper about the human brain. And here's the audience they're connecting to. Connects to the topic of the audience of using interesting number related facts. The topic is the human brain. The human brain, and I'm going to put that in a blue square. The human brain is central to human experience. It works both consciously and unconsciously for different processes. As the author gets into the specifics, the numbers start coming out. Messages travel through the neurons in the spinal cord at speeds of more than 150 miles per hour. There are 85 billion of these cells, and each neuron may be connected to as many as 10,000 other neurons, resulting in more than 100 trillion synapses in the brain. This is absolutely a fun fact. But not just that, but it's meant to connect to this audience above it, the audience of teen learners, y'all. So let's put a little bracket to the side of that quote. This list of interesting numerical facts grabs the audience's attention. So put a dot on one of those faces there. Bob, right? That's the attention that they're intending to draw. So this grabs the audience's attention right there. If, oh, we've got an if and then. So let's switch on over to green. Circle if. If the author had skipped these facts, then we got our then, and I'm going to turn that into green as well. Then there would be no impressive or novel information to accompany the brief informational portrait of the brain. This important inclusion of facts draws the author, facts just like in our topic sentence. A fact shows the author is conscious that the audience's attention should be drawn to the interesting numerical facts or details, maybe. Please take a moment to make your body paragraph look like that. Nice work. Here you have the opportunity to read this paragraph again and to give it a 4 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 1 out of 4, or 0. What you would do here is click this. That'll open up Vocaroo for you, and then we would go from there. Perhaps your teacher will choose to do that in small groups so that you can focus on it together and get this recorded. Always good to talk it out. Now you can review the prompt yourself with a little word cloud of the article, and then you can go ahead and write your TDA here in this block. A note that afterwards you'll see that we've got how are you doing? Am I in my first body paragraph? Am I pre-writing still? Am I still reading it? And then what do you think you deserve overall? Right? Did you answer the prompt? If so, you'd give yourself 100. Did you answer the prompt to give yourself a 4, 3, or 2, or 1? Did you have 5 paragraphs, or one of them a thesis, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion? If so, a 4. If a little less, a 3. Do you have a thesis? Does each body paragraph have a topic sentence? If so, a 4. If not exactly, a 3. Did I use the this noun verb, if and then, and the word important after every quotation? If you got 3 of those, give yourself a 4. If you've got less, give yourself something less. Do I have a quotation in each of my 3 body paragraphs, and is the quotation relevant? If so, a 4. If not, something less. Do you close out each body paragraph with a transition word or a phrase? Next, I'm going to another way of thinking this, etc. If so, 4. If something less, 3. Do I use important words, phrases from my text in my essay? If you do have words like neurons, for instance, and 4, and if you've got something less than that, maybe 3 or below. How's your grammar for each? Are you using those commas correctly? Are you avoiding comma drama? If so, give yourself a 4. If not, maybe something a little bit less. And you are done as TDA. Enjoy this little snack.